Welcome everybody to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living, and invite our wonderful friend Jessie to kick us off with some music. Oh look, Renetta has kids.
Where are the kids? Oh my God, look at that face.
Cute,
Hi,
cute.
baby.
There's probably one of her foster kids. I don't recognize them, but she'll tell us.
Is she gonna tell us? Hey, Renetta.
Savannah. She's spending 3 days with me. And baby
Savannah.
Anache, he has left. He's living in Riverside with his new mommy.
Oh, I don't know how you do that, Renetta. It would kill me. But I'm so happy that he's with people that will love him and raise him as their own. So great. Thanks for telling us.
All right, we're gonna do a little woke up this morning with my mindset on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind set on spirit, or stayed. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Singing and playing with my mind. Literally, stayed on spirit. That's what I'm doing right now. Singing and playing with my mind. Stayed on spirit. I'm singing and playing with my mind. Stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I think walking and talking is a good one. Yeah? If anybody's got any more, say them out loud in a minute after I'm done with this verse. Here we go. Walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on spirit. I'm walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on spirit. I'm walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Does anybody have another one? Don't put it in the chat because I can't get to the chat because my.
How about knowing and growing?
Knowing and growing. Ooh, that's good. Knowing and growing. Here we go. I'm knowing and growing with my mind. Stayed on spirit. I'm knowing and growing with my mind. Stayed on spirit. I'm knowing and growing with my mind. Stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Anybody got one more?
Loving and laughing.
Loving and laughing. I was going to go for that one, Rev. So here we go. We're on the same wavelength. Here we go. I'm loving and laughing with my mind. Stayed on spirit. I'm loving and laughing with my mind. Stayed on spirit. I'm loving and laughing with my mind. Stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Do hallelujah again. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Do it 2 more times. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. One more time. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Good morning.
You know, it's so funny. I was thinking about that song when I was writing my talk. So I guess we really are on the same wavelength. Woohoo! All right. Thank you so much. It's always so great to have you here with us, Jessie. I love the live music. And I am going to welcome our practitioner of the day, Lissa Lazaro, to pray us in and give us a few words.
Well, it's perfect because I'm on the same wavelength too. It's like staying on spirit and the growing and knowing, staying on spirit. That's been my month. And I'm largely wanting to share with you my month. And a couple of you already have know what I'm going to talk about. But my experience this month in terms of practicing the principles and sticking with kind of, we've been talking about self-confidence, self-awareness, and boundaries, and it's like I've just really tried to pay a lot of attention, a lot of self-awareness. And I have been dealing with something with, as I look at it in retrospect, I realize is relatively minor in the scheme of the world, but was exceedingly important to me. And it's like it began on April 28th when I went in to try and get my California ID and discovered that I could not, that I do not have a correct identity. Now, mind you, everything in my life, my driver's license, Medicare, my everything, any important paper in the world has Lissa Cook Lazaro on it. However, my birth name was Margaret Alice Cook. And even through 2 marriages, I still had pieces of the old name. And so it's like essentially I've been unable to get the ID. And so, it's like I've spent most of the month trying to deal with it. And, it's kind of like holding in my space. This is obviously going to work out. I mean, that's who I am, and I'm not a criminal. I don't have any criminal record. It's like it's going to work out. But that impatient of wanting it to be done and running into blocks every time, it's like trying to get. I was ecstatic because I went in, and what she had said to me in the DMV was that I needed the record of my last marriage, which I got, but that wasn't enough because my name is still not the total name. I have the proper last name, but so at any rate, that wasn't enough. So subsequently, later on, I thought, oh, I'll get the divorce certificate. Now, mind you, I have to go to Santee for this. I live in North County, and I have to go to Santee for these documents. So I go to Santee, I walk in the door and ask for my divorce. Oh, we don't do that here. You have to go to El Cajon. And so I go to El Cajon to the courthouse. I have to go to the courthouse. Go to El Cajon to the courthouse. The courthouse is closed. He didn't tell me it closed at 4 o'clock. So at any rate, that's a dead end. So I just give those as examples, but that's been going on over and over again with various kinds of things. So then finally, last week, not this week that just passed, but last week, I spent most of the week agonizing over. I finally had decided I have to do a name change. And so I was doing all the research and discovering where I could do it and how I could do it, and all the unloading the documents and trying to figure them all out, and so forth and so on. And so I'm spending time with that and trying constantly to maintain, to keep going back to it's all fine. All is well. It's going to work out, and trying to squash that voice that comes up and is shouting curse words. And so I finally and I would start the day in that, getting myself in the space of and the intention for the day and treatment of what my day would be like. And so anyway, we finally get to, and I figure out I have to go to the downtown courthouse, and there's no parking, and I have a handicap. And so at any rate, my poor sister-in-law changed her work schedule in order to take me. And so I put myself, was treating and putting myself in that right space. And I was all okay about how this is all going to work out and they're going to give me the right documents. The only thing that was left over was this niggling, the fee, because the fee even for doing it yourself is like $485, which is a stretch for me. And so, that's in my head, and I'm saying this is going to work out, because I knew that you could ask for a fee waiver, but the idea in my disorganized life of pulling together my whole budget was daunting. So I just tried to stop thinking and get back to treatment and to it's all going to work out and God's in charge. I'm not in charge. And so finally I get to the second floor because they have a legal aid person who will help you. I get to the second floor. There's only one person standing in the line. And so I think, oh, this is nice. And there are a few people that are sitting waiting over there. And so then I go up to the top because by this time I'm thinking, what name am I changing? I know what name I want, but which one do I change? So it was solved instantly. She handed me a paper and said, list all the names you've ever been known by. And so I did that. And so then she said, okay, and sit down and they'll be with you. So finally, this person came out and I hadn't waited very long. And I swear to God, I felt like it was an angel. She just immediately, she knew exactly what she was doing. She was very clear. She had the papers to fill out. She filled out the papers. She gave me this thing, which was like 4 pages of people, because you have to publish for 4 weeks, 4 places where you could publish. She circled the one that was the cheapest. And, and then she completed the whole thing. She sent me where I needed to go. The person who I greeted there was quite efficient and rapid and completed the documents, filed them, handed them back to me, gave me my court date, which essentially explained to me I won't have to go, which is in July. And essentially, I was done. But I neglected to tell you the big piece was that the legal aid person gave me the form to fill out for waiving the fee. And there were places that you could check on waiving the fee. And so I checked Medi-Cal. And so she looked at the form and she said, oh, well, with Medi-Cal, it's waived. And it's like, I swear I could hear hallelujah. It was just, it's really hard to express the feeling that you have when it comes through, and that you kind of had a part in setting the stage to make the thing happen. I really felt the sense that my treatment and my inner work had really essentially assisted me in resolving this whole thing. And so at any rate, I just, was left with that feeling of relief and joy and peace and excitement, and knowing that it's just going to go through and the whole thing is going to be fine. And in July I'll have my legal name and then I can go in and get my California ID. So anyway, I hope that was not boring to you, but I really wanted to share it because I know that each of us is practicing our spiritual principles in our own way with whatever's going on in our life. And I just wanted to say that it's worth the persistence, because I am a kind of impatient person, and I think we're all pushed by our culture these days for instant gratification. And it was like the sense of, just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep sticking with God and it'll work out. So those are my words for today. And so now I will call you into treatment, or not treatment, but an invocation. So with a centering breath, join me in that place of knowing that there is a divine presence flowing in, around, and through each and every one of us, blessing our united presence, whether on this call today or listening later, because we are each and all individualized expressions of this one presence. And so I know that there is a wellspring of peace that resides in each and every one of us, and it can be drawn forward at any time that we're willing to place our intention and focus on it, and to release the non-peaceful thoughts and feelings. Even saying the word peace can often bring it forward. So I know this feeling of peace about all things big and small fills me I am able to be its expression in the world. So let there be peace on earth. And I release this prayer into the law with grateful thankings and ask you to join me in saying, and so it is.
And so it is. That wasn't boring at all. I was waiting for with bated breath to hear how it all came out. And I know that this has been a journey for you, so it was a delight to hear the resolution. And wow, that's what a great story. And here's the affirmation for May. Do you want to read it, Lisa, or you want me to? Is she muted? Well, I will read it. As spring awakens the earth, so spring awakens in my soul. New life, new ideas, and a new joy blossom within me now. I am rooted in divine mind and infinite potential. Every moment is a fresh beginning. I rise in joy, and so it is. Hoot, hoot. All right. And Jesse has more music for us.
Hello.
I
I got very inspired by that invocation. I know that we hear this song a lot, but I kind of want to do the song and just do it in my own sort of meditative way and not in the way where we all hold hands and sway. Even though that was fun too. So, let there be peace on earth. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Oh, let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Oh, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Wow. That was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I was reminded what a gorgeous voice you have. So beautiful. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome again. Good morning. Welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And as always, whether you're joining us in real time or replay, you are welcome in this space. And I'm so glad you're here and connecting with us. And as always, I trust that something that you hear or experience in our service just opens you to the divinity that you are, just opens you to the magnificence of your being. Oh, and I just, that is my deep intention and my deep desire. And as we connect with that deeper part of ourselves, then we get to live it in our lives. Woohoo! Just like Lissa. So, and also happy Memorial Day. And how perfect that our topic is about our individual and collective liberation as we honor the people that gave their lives so that we could enjoy the principles our country was founded on: liberty and equality and freedom. The freedom to create fulfilling and joyous lives, to be who we are. And I have to say that at this time in our history, I think that it is imperative that we remind ourselves and the world that these qualities are everyone's right. And no one is liberated unless everyone is liberated. And now is the time for us to continue to stand for these principles that unite us as one common humanity, not to be complacent, but to remember the power of our collective consciousness, grounded in the harmony and the unity and the goodness of God, in our oneness with God. And it's really important that we remember that right now, especially this time in our history. The word liberation comes from the Latin root word libere, meaning free, as in liberty, liberal, liberate, referring to any condition of life that is free from restraint or restriction or resistance. When life is free to express itself fully and to play in the potential of the infinite divine mind. And as I always do, I looked to see what Ernest Holmes, our founder, had to say about liberation. And I actually couldn't find any quote where he actually used the word liberation, but he uses the word liberty in several places in the Science of Mind text. And he always uses it in relationship to our use of creative law. Several times he reminds us that creative law is the law of liberty, and that we are all empowered to use creative law consciously. We're all using it all the time, even if we're not aware of it. But through our awareness of it, we're empowered to consciously use it for our individual benefit and for the benefit of the collective whole. So I'm going to share a quote with you. And the quote I'm going to share is a little long, but it gives us a sense of how Holmes embraced this idea of liberty, of liberation, through the lens of our conscious use of creative law. And in this passage, he's talking about affirmative prayer, which is in essence kind of a spiritual practice of consciously using creative law. And he talks about how affirmative prayer liberates us as we use it in accord with the nature of God, with the nature of universal good. So I'm gonna share my screen. Hang on a second. I'm going to navigate. All right, here it is. So here's the quote. Okay, I trust you can all see it. And the quote is, "But let us remember, the prayer is answered according to law. And this law is one of liberty and not license." Important point there. I think that's really important. It's not, we can just create whatever. It has to be used in accordance with the liberty of the all that is. Anyway, I digress. True liberty comes only through true harmony. True harmony only through true unity. And true unity can come only through the conscious realization that we are one with the good of God. The conscious realization that we are one with the good of God. Oh, how does that feel to us? Oh, we really have to look at how that feels to us. So what I hear in this really beautiful quote, I think. I think that the quote defines liberty or liberation as the experience of awakening to our true nature in harmony and unity with God. The realization that we're not bound by fear or some misguided belief in our separation from good. We're liberated as we return to our source. Liberation is a return to or an embodiment of our inherent wholeness in God. And liberation isn't only freedom from outer conditions, but freedom from any inner bondage that we might experience. Remember last week I talked about resolving our inner conflicts, resolving them through our unity with God's love. I talked about forgiveness as a conflict resolution tool, and this is much the same thing. And we do that through our conscious use of creative law by working in harmony and unity with our source. Liberation to me it's kind of like the activity within the heart of the divine. It moves us from an experience of separation to an experience of oneness, from an experience of fear to an experience of deep love. And consciously or unconsciously, we demonstrate the beliefs we embody. And as we liberate ourselves individually, as we come into the experience of our unity with God, we always do that at the beginning of our affirmative prayers, we contribute that same resonance to the collective consciousness of humanity. We contribute to the experience of collective liberation. And individual liberation is such a personal and intimate experience. But here's where collective liberation begins. It's much like forgiveness. It's not a once and done. Liberation is kind of an unfolding process that we revisit as we move through our daily lives. As Holmes told us, it brings us back into harmony and unity with our divine nature. So let's start here. Let's do this. Play with me, if you will. I invite you to take a deep breath. And you can close your eyes or just soften your gaze, whatever works for you. And just draw your awareness inward for a moment. Just pause. And just be aware that you're aware. Just be aware that you are aware. And ask yourself this question internally. What is it like to be me in this moment? What is it like to be me in this moment? What is your actual experience? You're sitting in a chair, in a room, in front of a computer, you're on a Zoom call. You probably hear some sounds in the room. You hear my voice coming from your computer. This is your actual experience. And now ask yourself what you are aware of in this experience right now. What are you aware of in this experience right now? How do you feel? What does this experience feel like? What do you think about it? Do you feel safe, peaceful, loving, curious, connected, happy? Or do you feel something else? Maybe you're concerned or anxious about something that's going on in your life right now. Maybe you're lonely or you're worried about something. What does it feel like? What are you aware of in this actual experience right now? And to the best of your ability, can you be okay with whatever it's like to be you in this moment? Can you be okay with whatever it's like to be you in the experience of this moment. And just take that. Okay. So we have the experience of how it feels to be you right now. And we have the awareness of the experience of what it's like to be you right now, which is a little bit more expanded and takes into consideration how we feel. You are in the experience and you are aware of how you feel in the experience. And they really are two separate things, you know, and I have come to believe that it is here between our experience, all the things that we encounter in our daily human life, and our awareness of that experience. You know, Lissa spoke to this a little bit in her story, that there is this powerful creative space in between the two. It's sort of like, you ever heard that Viktor Frankl quote, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. It's sort of like that. In this space between our experience and our awareness, we are empowered to look at our lives in a couple of different ways. Either from the perspective or the experience that we're already fundamentally whole, complete, and perfect beings in God, that the freedom, love, compassion, and joy of God is already within us, that we're one with the infinite divine nature of God, or, and this is either consciously or unconsciously, we might believe that we are fundamentally flawed and that there is something we need to do or to become to create a safe place where we can earn the right to become whole, happy beings, the ones we want to be. And the awareness from which we perceive our experience, whatever it may be, is a powerful, creative moment. You know, because as Holmes told us, true liberty comes from true harmony, harmony with this one presence. True harmony comes from our unity. Unity comes from our conscious realization, or I would rather say embodiment of our oneness with God. And this is our embodied belief or knowing. You know, if this idea that we are one with God is our belief or knowing, then we'll activate creative law in harmony with the nature of God and experience God's good more fully in everything we do in our daily human lives. This is a power place, this place between the space of experience and awareness. If we believe that we are fundamentally whole, then our practice of liberating ourselves, coming into unity with the divine, is to peel away all the protective layers of conditioning that we've accumulated that have taught us that it's not safe to be ourselves. And if we have embodied the belief that we are fundamentally broken, then our practice is to try to add things to who we are to become something, which is impossible. We can't earn our way into being an expression of God. We're already an expression of God. But there might be places within us that have not fully embodied the truth of our wholeness and our inherent divinity. And I believe we are truly empowered by what we hold to be true in that space between experience and awareness, and by being aware of how we feel. And here is where we can fully embody the beauty of our divinity and create from this place. And it is my sincere knowing that it is our nature to be happy, to be joyous, to live full and rich and wonderful lives. And when we embody an experience of our unchangeable and unalterable divine nature, then liberation, which is our conscious union with God, is not something we have to do, but simply a way of being, of remembering who we are, slipping into the heart of divine love. It's that shift in consciousness. It's a revelation. It has been my personal direct experience that we are already fundamentally whole, and nothing can change that. It's an infinite truth. And of course, it's what Science of Mind teaches as well. And the more we embody this awareness of our divinity, the more empowered we are to encounter and to engage with all the things that show up in our human experience. And there's a lot of stuff, from a place of peace and of trust and not from fear. I was saying this in the meditation, but I think it's true, is that it's much like the eye of the storm, from a place that can witness the turbulence without allowing them to toss us around. Not that we won't experience grief or sadness or have painful experiences in our lives, but we will know that they're just experiences and not who we are, and that we will still be in harmony with and feel our union with our divine reality. There's a story that I ran across. I always love to follow up with a story because I think it kind of grounds an idea. There's a story about a woman named Lina, and she had had a difficult phone call with her sister. They had had yet another argument, and it was an old pattern. There was the accusations and the defensiveness and then the silence, and Lena ended up slamming the phone down and her hands were trembling. You know how you get when you're really angry. And the experience itself, the argument was over, but her awareness was still telling the same story. She never listens. I'm always the problem. I'll never be enough. She was telling the story of her brokenness and not the story of her wholeness. And then the story goes that she happened to glance over at the window and she saw this beautiful little bell that she'd been gifted at a retreat that she'd attended a few years earlier. And she picked it up and she rang the bell, and its kind of clear, steady tone filled the room. And she realized, it's that moment when we stop and we realize, yes, the argument happened. Yes, it hurt. But in this moment, I have a choice about how I relate to it. In the space between her experience and her awareness of the experience, Lena sat down and she closed her eyes. And she didn't try to solve the problem or justify herself. She just let herself feel what was there, without pushing against it or clinging to it. She just felt it. And it was sadness and guilt and a longing for connection with her sister. The argument was real. The pain she felt was real. But now her awareness was calm and spacious and compassionate. And she could hold the experience without becoming the experience. She could be aware of it without letting it define her. You ever been there? Many times me. If we're aware that we're always one with the divine presence, then we can safely hold everything that we experience as humans, even if it's not so great. We can know that it's okay to experience our humanity, to be present with everything, whatever it is. When we're willing to feel something, then we can heal it and we can forgive it. We can process it and let it go and come back to our wholeness with the divine. And in this way, we can use all of our human experiences kind of like a bridge to move us into what's possible, into that stability of the oneness with God. Even if we're not feeling so great right now. You know, we can experience everything from the presence of our divinity, and we can honor all the aspects of our human journey. And it's not to be complacent. It's simply to be safely present. Safely present. I really believe that true liberation is born from embracing all aspects of ourselves. And this is the key. This came to me as I was putting together that to know that there is no future moment that will be more worthy of our presence than the one we're in right now. This space between our experience and our awareness is where what we hold to be true meets creative law. Right here, right now. This is where we demonstrate who we believe we are. This is where we marry our divinity with our humanity. And, you know, I know that this idea might feel a little cumbersome, but my experience has shown me that it is accurate. Liberation comes from knowing who we are in God, and from this awareness, being able to experience everything, to feel everything, and to dissolve any barriers we might think separate us from God, the truth of our being. Yeah, it's big. And collectively, right now, I think we're being called to come together as one human family, to liberate ourselves from the idea that we're separate from each other, and to see in each other our common humanity, no matter what our outer differences are. And, you know, I have to be in complete honesty, when holidays like the 4th of July or Veterans Day or Memorial Day like today or tomorrow come up, I have to admit that they make me feel a little conflicted. And here's why. I was raised in a household that was deeply patriotic, but it was a little bit kind of a different kind of patriotism that I see popping up all around us right now. It was patriotism expressed as love of one's country, love of one's culture and people and ideals, but not blind to think that we were supreme, that we're above everything else. You know, it was more like the way you love a family member. You know, you can love what's good about them, but you can still hold the space for accountability, for growth, and for healing. And when I look around our country right now, I see things coming up that need our attention so that we can tell the truth about them and heal them. They're like that black sheep of the family. We might not be headed in the right direction. You know, so we can celebrate a kind of patriotism right now that isn't either or, but both and, so that we can wave our country's flag and still stand up for universal human rights, where we can honor our ancestors, I'm tripping over my words, and still heal the damage that they may have caused. Slavery comes to mind here, where we can still vote and serve and care about our local communities, but think and act globally at the same time. You know, I gotta say, I do love my country. I truly do. But as a nation, we are far from perfect. And in my opinion, rapidly sliding further from our foundational principles. And this is not a political thing. It's a principle and integrity thing. I believe our country was founded on some fundamental universal truths, that all creation is equal and has the right to live life in freedom. Life needs freedom to thrive. And while I honor all the people who gave their lives in service to these fundamental principles, I'm really deeply grateful. I also believe that humanity is at a point in our evolution where we must stop falling back on this tribal notion of patriotism, an outdated idea that we have to protect ourselves from each other. I don't know exactly how this liberation will come about, but I believe it has to, because the way of our past, the ways that we've lived in the past, they're unsustainable. They're out of harmony and unity with the nature of God and with universal truth. But I firmly believe that we're empowered together to right the ship. And honestly, I think it's inevitable. I think it has to happen. So I ran across, I want to read this quote that I ran across. I should have had it up, but I don't. It's from Ralph Waldo Trine, and I've heard his name before in New Thought literature, but I didn't really know much about him. But he was one of the forerunners, if you will, of kind of one of the founders of the New Thought movement. And he had this quote, and I love it. It's about patriotism. And he wrote, "Patriotism is a beautiful thing. It is well for me to love my country, but why should I love my own country more than I love others? If I love my own and hate others, then I show my limitations, and my patriotism will not stand the test, even for my own. If I love my own country, and in the same way love all countries, then I show the largeness of my nature. A patriotism of this kind is noble and always to be relied on." I love that. It's not an exclusive patriotism. It's an inclusive patriotism. This is how we come into a collective liberation. We join together in this kind of a global patriotism. You know, when we individually liberate ourselves, healing our minds and transcending our egos and aligning with divine truth, we become these agents for the transformation of collective consciousness, the collective consciousness of humanity. And we create these ripples of change that spread through, you know, our friends and our families and our communities and our political systems and the world. We are so empowered. And sometimes, I can speak for myself, I feel less empowered than I really am in God. We are so empowered. So I want to end with this another little prayer that I found. I don't even remember where it came from, but here's the prayer. I offer this prayer for my nation. I honor the soul of my nation. I celebrate its beauty and I grieve its wounds. I serve its highest good with integrity. I do not stop at its borders. I am a citizen of the earth, a bearer of peace, a channel for love everywhere. And so it is. And I'll just let that be the closing prayer. Liberation. I'm going to put us on gallery view. There we go. So, whew. And I'm so glad to see you all here. I don't know who's doing the time of conscious giving. I probably should have looked, but I did not. Does anybody know? It might be relaying, but maybe not. No takers? Oh, Abigail had to go. Oh, love you, Abigail. Let's see. You know what? It's fine. I'll just do it. So this is our time of conscious giving, a time when we all come together to oops. There we go. I had to close something so I could get something else open. We all come together to share our collective good with our spiritual community, to give financially so that we'll keep coming together and meeting and celebrating in this way and honoring each other. So, and we all know how to give. We all know that we can give on Venmo. And if you don't know that, I can put it in the chat for sure. Or you can send a check if you prefer to my address. I know that a lot of us have been giving when we get unexpected income. Like I got some unexpected income not too long ago. I know Rob did, and it's always wonderful to see that extra money show up as it's kind of a confirmation or an affirmation that yes, the cycle of giving and receiving is infinite. It just keeps moving on. And we give, and as we give, we receive more and in kind. So I invite you to say the affirmation with me, the sacred giving affirmation. Everything flows from the nature of God's good. We give and receive from this flow in gratitude and love. We rest in the infinite giving nature of spirit. And so it is. So it is. And let's see. I'm thinking of announcements. Next week we're at home. So Lissa.
I just wanted to tell you, I found my schedule and it's you.
Oh, well, then there we go. Right on track then. We're right on track. Okay, next week we'll be at home. You know, tomorrow night I've been invited to come up to Memorial Day barbecue at my son's house. So I will not be on the prayer call, but everyone else, I'll still send out the link, and anybody that wants to jump on the prayer call still can, but I will not be joining you. I will be having something that he's going to smoke on his smoker. I have no idea what. So, but then Tuesday night we will be doing The Universe Has Your Back. And I just listened to this one, and I think it's obstacles or detours in the right direction. Is that the one we're doing? I believe so. Anyway, yeah. So we'll be discussing that. And then next Sunday we'll be down at Alm Center. And don't forget that they start at 10. And we'll, if it's okay with everybody, we'll do our regular pick you up. Everybody come to my house. We drive down. So, that always works out really well. And I love to get real-time hugs from the people that are in the area. So we'll see you there. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else. Anybody have anything else they need to announce or say? I don't think so. Okay, so I'm just going to know. I'm just going to be in great gratitude for this service this morning. I loved Lisa's story. I love Jesse's music. I love that we all come together and hold each other in this deep connection of love and peace and just great gratitude. I'm so grateful for our community. And I know that at the heart of each and every individual that is on our planet, that is in the universe, all living beings, that there is a shift into the harmony, unity, and oneness of God. And in this way, we collectively liberate ourselves for anything unlike the fullness and the joy of God. So for this and so much more, I simply say thank you. Allow it to be, and together we say. And so it is. Woo-hoo. And Jesse.
Hi.
Got some music for us?
I do. Thank you for your talk. I love talking about freedom. I love talking about liberation. It's one of my favorite topics. Honestly, I don't know if that's been the driving force in my life, but it's been one of the main ones. All right, so this song is about regaining your freedom. I've played it before, but it's been a long time. And it's set in the storytelling of someone quitting their job, their soul-sucking corporate job that they hate. It's called Beat of Your Drum. You stumble home and you don't know what to do. It was your last day of working there. You've been waiting on this moment for years, and now it's finally here. The last time that the world was so open was when you were 21. Now you're watching the chapter close. You see the infinite possibilities of the next one. It can be so relieving. Moments like this, bittersweet sense of leaving. You look around at your messy apartment and think, maybe I should clean. No, but instead you go back to bed, 'cause now you've got time for everything. So go on and take your liberty. Go on and travel the world. Go on and take your liberty. Set your soul loose on the open road. Wake up early just to catch the sunrise, or be reminded of the purpose of being alive. Feel that sweet sense of freedom, where the pieces and the parts of who you really are start marching to the beat of your drum. Bum bum, ba-da bum, ba-da, to the beat of your drum. Bum bum, ba-da bum. Tick-tock goes the desperate clock, hoping it still has your life by the cones. Emancipated from the system in which your days are dictated by the hands on the wall. You screw and shuffle past the bathroom mirror. You notice the chains are missing from your legs, because your uniform and your enslavement's been traded for dancing naked while making bacon and eggs. Baby, better get used to receiving the days as a gift. Better get busy believing this kind of bliss. So go on and take your liberty. Go on and travel the world. Go on and take your liberty. Set your soul loose on the open road. Wake up early just to catch the sunrise, or be reminded of the purpose of being alive. Feel that sweet sense of freedom. I said, go on and take your liberty. Go on and travel the world. Go on and take your liberty. Set your soul loose on the open road. Wake up early just to catch the sunrise, or be reminded of the purpose of being alive. Feel that sweet sense of freedom, where the pieces and the parts of who you really are start marching to the beat of your drum. Bum bum, ba-dum bum, ba-da, to the beat of your drum. Bum bum, ba-dum bum, ba-da, to the beat of your drum, to the beat of your drum, to the beat of your beat, 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 beat. Baby, feeling free, 'cause I'm going to the beat, to the beat, to the beat, 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 to the beat of your drum.
Ah, thank you. That was perfect. Loved it. Oh, you always love it when you come visit us, Jessie.
Thanks, I love being here.
I am going to turn off our recording.